What's the purpose of your visit? Do you intend to stay long?
Questions. A lot of questions.
So, what's your concern? Do you have issues on student visa or super visa?
I want to know about family sponsorship.
Business immigration?
How about caregiver program?
Self-employed class?
Tell me more on PR and citizenship applications.
Skilled and temporary workers?
Please, enlighten me on express entry.
Etc., etc.
More inquiries? NQCIS has the answers. Northern Quest, Canadian Immigration Services.
Visit their website today, northernquest.ca, or better call them now at 647-302-3508.
NQCIS, your reliable partner to your bright future in Canada.
684-6442. Home or buying one? Gee, you need help. Fast. Call 416-684-6442. Talk about mortgages, real estate, and everything along that line? Gee, you gotta have assistance. Call direct. 416-684-6442. Still bothered by a lot of questions? You need G. Call her now. 416-684-6442. And look for G. Sell. Your reliable realtor. Her name is synonymous to acquiring your dream home fast. Selling? It's still her. G. Sell. Gizele Mirasol on Remax Realty, Kingston Road, Ontario. Send your inquiries to Gizele Mirasol at gmail.com. That's GIZELEMIRASOL at gmail.com.
Kick off my shoes, turn Pinoy radio on. Few moments later and my favorite song comes on. I'm feeling happy, dance to the beat. Filipino music makes me feel free. The music touches my soul, makes me feel high. I'm loving life, proud to be Pinay. There's no other place that makes me feel home than tuning into PinoyRadio.com. This is the music of my life, fills me with love and so much pride. PinoyRadio.com, just log in, it's always on. PinoyRadio.com, just log on, it's always on. PinoyRadio.com.
We would like to express that the opinions, views, comments, and suggestions of the host in this program are purely their own and do not reflect those of Pinoy Radio. Emanating from MCBN Broadcast Center, you're all Filipino radio. PinoyRadio.com. PinoyRadio.com. This year, we'll never get short of surprises. In fact, we step up the game. Hashtag Level Up Goals. The finest hits, outstanding shows, remarkable events. Media Cancer Broadcasting Network Incorporated. This is PinoyRadio.com. Love it. Thinking of selling your house or buying one in Canada? Our program will assist you in realizing your dream home in 60 minutes. Property Talk. Property Talk with Gizele Mirasol, with the help of satisfied clients, live personal testimonies, and how it changed their lives. That and more in Property Talk. Sundays at 12 noon Eastern Time on Pinoy Radio. PinoyRadio.com. Hosted by Gizele Mirasol, together with her remarkable guests who knows exactly how it's done. Property Talk. Your dream home awaits.
And good afternoon and welcome to another episode of Property Talks with Gizele Mirasol. Hello guys, how are you today?
Good.
Good. That's great. First, we would like to apologize for the delay. We just had a little bit of technical difficulty, but the great news is we are now live and ready to go. So excited for today's show today. I do have a special guest here, and we'll give you further introduction later on. But in the meantime, let's say a quick hello to Fred Chen. Hi, Fred. How are you?
Very good, Gizele. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming here. Fred is actually a mortgage agent here. We will talk more and get to know Fred better, and we'll talk about definitely the changing market. In the meantime, we'll quickly say hello to our technician, DJ Ryan Pepper.
Hi, hello.
How are you?
I'm good.
Good. It's been a crazy 2 weeks, right? Since we were last here, right? So many events happening.
Yes. And actually, today we're expecting a very, very special day for Pinoy Radio people.
Yes.
There's a lot of programs, special guests, and new shows. So.
That's right. So stay tuned today. Like, I mean, normally it's my show's the first show for today, but we have a long lineup. So just keep listening on PinoyRadio.com, and we'll tell you later on where else you can listen to us live. And even watch it later on Facebook Live if you get a chance. But in the meantime, let's quickly talk about what's been happening what's been happening with myself and Pinoy Radio. So many events, MCBN TV, Pinoy Radio. We were also at the Taste of Manila that just happened pretty much last weekend. A lot of us actually emceed, including myself, for the 2-day event. So it was actually pretty exciting to have to have the rest of the Pinoy Radio MCBN family there. So this is actually my 4th year emceeing with Taste of Manila. So for those of you listening around the world, Taste of Manila is the biggest street festival Filipino street festival in Canada. So like I mentioned, I was there since year 1. So being able to go back again, every year and see how definitely this organization grew. It's quite amazing. We had about 350,000 people attend the event last year. So we don't have the final numbers yet this year, but we had a great time, obviously. So which is really great. Great time. And then just a couple of days ago, we were at the Philippine Tapestry Fashion Show, and well-known fashion icon Renee Salud from the Philippines was here showcasing all of the traditional weaving from the Philippines, from different parts of the island, from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. So that was really nice, and it was being collaborated with pretty much the modern type of attire that we have. But definitely was a fashion show. So if anybody was at Nathan Phillips Square yesterday, they were there as well at the Mabuhay Festival. The Mabuhay Festival is still going on today, so if you have a chance, please go as well. But so that was pretty awesome. We did interviews there, so it was really nice. I was doing the interviews with the Department of Tourism, Renee Salud, and a lot of people. So that was fun. And last night, so this August has been a lot of events here. But to all our listeners last night as well, first I would like to congratulate Kababayan Multicultural Center for their 40th anniversary. So I've been a volunteer there since 1995, and so it was great to MC again their event. I was the MC on their 25th anniversary, 35th, and then 40th anniversary. Wow. So it's quite. It's quite exciting, and I just want to share with everybody. First, want to give special thanks to Kababayan Multicultural Center. They actually given me a plaque of recognition for Community Service Awards. So really appreciate that. And again, thank you for recognizing the volunteers throughout all the years here. So just wanted to mention that to everybody. That's our quick summary of what's been happening the last 2 weeks. And of course, the most important thing is what's happening right now with our show here at Property Talks with Gizele Mirasol. So what are we going to talk about? Of course, we're going to talk to our special guest here, Fred, who will pretty much update us with what's happening with the market, with the ever-changing real estate market since changes the last, I would say, is it a couple of months? No, more than that.
It's been a couple months since the last government rules have come in.
That's right. Yeah, so we're now in August. Wow, time flies, right?
Yeah, the summers just flew right by.
Exactly, it is. And of course, we will, throughout the show as well, we'll also talk about, Fred will share a little bit more about interest rates and, what he does. And lastly, just before the show end, we have a special segment, as always, which is Celebrity Homes. So we stay tuned, and we will talk about who our celebrity is for today. Okay. So Fred, how are you doing again?
Doing very good.
Good. Are you excited to be here?
Oh, definitely.
Yes,
definitely.
first time on radio.
Yes, and TV.
And TV, that's right.
Oh,
yeah. So, your friends and your clients actually can listen to us. And DJ Ryan, where can they tune in and watch us or listen to us?
We are live at Dailymotion, YouTube.com, MCBN.TV, Facebook Live, Twitter, under Periscope, and that's it. PinoyRadio.com.
And PinoyRadio.com.
Yeah.
That's great. So, yes, we have all that platform for you to listen to our programs here. So, let's get started. Okay.
Excellent.
So, Fred, you've been, so you're a mortgage agent and you're with Mortgage Alliance. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Yes, and so actually, for those of you looking for mortgage, Fred is actually mobile,
Yes.
so he can pretty much meet you anywhere. Is that
Yep.
correct?
Correct. Whenever my client needs to see me, whether it be on the weekend. Yesterday I had to see 2 clients
Okay.
at the office. And one was in the morning, one was in the afternoon, and you have to fit their schedule.
There you go. So
Yeah.
that's good. So see, he's mobile, so he's able to. We know that clients can tend to be very busy, right?
Yes, yes. I mean, most of my meetings are outside the business hours, and I'm fine with that.
There you go. And that's I think that's the beauty of being mobile. Okay.
Definitely.
So quickly, I mean, I've talked about this in previous episodes, but for our listeners today, we'll talk about what is the difference between Fred, who's a mortgage broker, in comparison to most people would just go directly to the bank. So would you like to quickly talk about that?
Absolutely. I mean, the biggest difference is I have access to multiple lenders. I could access 60 different lenders at any given time. Last year, we worked with 16 different lenders.
Okay.
And we look at who has the best option at this time.
You said 1616 or 60?
16.
Okay.
We have access to 60. So
To 60. 60. Yeah.
And last year, we worked with 16.
Okay.
And we just find what's the best rate.
That's right. So they have
Best
options.
package, sorry. I should say the best package. It's not always centered around rate.
That's right.
Yeah. So you may see a very low rate, but there could be a lot of strings attached, such as a very stiff penalty, or your down payment needs to be a certain amount, or you have to pay for your own insurance. And if you factor in insurance, a lot of times that lower rate will not be favorable to you in the long term.
That's right. And that's what a lot of people don't realize, right? So automatically, don't you always get the question to say, well, what rate am I getting?
What's the they always ask, I want the best rate, but it really depends on your situation and your property too. I mean, if you're buying a condo, it could have a different rate than a house would have.
So there you go. So again, to all our listeners out there, it varies. But the good thing of having a mortgage broker is, like Fred said, he will find the best package that will suit your needs, right?
Exactly.
Based on your criteria. And of course, we talk about there's a couple of things that's being considered whenever you're purchasing. So such as your income,
Yes.
right? Your credit, and of
Credit's
course
huge.
the down payment, right?
All very important factors. You hit them all.
There you go. So that's great. So so now let's talk about let's talk about Fred first quickly before we go through the market. And Fred, you also deal with a lot of foreign buyers as well, right?
Yes, I do. I've helped quite a few, especially in the past few years. It's slowed down a little bit just because of the foreign buyer tax, but it's definitely a strong part of my clientele.
That's great. So why don't we talk about first, how the mortgage, how it applies to residents of Canada, right?
Okay.
And then we'll also talk about the foreign buyers too at the same time.
Absolutely.
Okay. So that's great. So let's quickly talk about the changes since April 20th. Okay. So that huge announcement definitely made an impact in the real estate market here in Toronto. Okay.
Yes.
We followed suit with Vancouver. From last year,
Yeah.
but it definitely did slow down. So can you maybe let us know, based on your experience, how did you find it since the change?
Well, one thing that I should point out is that even if you are a non-resident, you can still avoid. This tax does not apply to you. Only if you are completely not Canadian, non-resident. That's the only time that you would be taxed. I mean, I have friends back in Asia right now that are planning to come back, and they're looking to purchase, and they actually do not have to pay for this tax.
Yeah, and that's because they were residents here before.
Yes.
Well, they're either Canadian citizen though, right?
Yes.
And
They
or
were
permanent
Canadian
residents.
citizens, and they just declared non-residency because they've been working abroad for so long.
Yeah. So
And
that's a
they're-
good point,
Exactly.
because once you leave Canada for a while, you're not eligible for OHIP for a certain
Yes.
time or even certain things. So in this case,
It is to your benefit to say that, yes, you know what, I am a non-resident, I was a Canadian citizen, and as such, you do not have to pay this foreign buyer tax.
so which is a good thing. So if they
Absolutely.
decide to come back and live again in Canada, right? So most of them just work, internationally for a couple of years, and definitely, their status might have changed at that point. Okay.
Yes.
So what is considered, for our listeners around the world, what is considered a foreign buyer?
A foreign buyer, someone who has just never had a Canadian citizenship. That's basically it.
Okay. And what do you normally look for when it comes to their criteria to be approved to purchase a home?
For foreign buyers, the biggest thing is your down payment. You need to have a very significant down payment that with funds in Canada for at least 30 days, just to show that these funds are secured here.
So it has to be in the bank.
Exactly. They want to see that been transferred and that there won't be any hiccups come closing day. You can't transfer the funds for your down payment a week before. You have to do
Yes,
it.
because they will question where did your down payment come from.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I don't think you can exactly transfer a few $100,000 all at once.
Yes.
So just get your money into Canada sooner, and then just make sure that there's no flags that are raised from that.
Do you look for once the money is in the account for 30 days? I mean, do the lenders still look for where the money originated from?
Yes, sometimes they'll ask for the source account to see that where did it come from? Was it from one of your accounts or was it from someone else's account? And obviously they'll want to see that it is your personal funds, that you're not managing someone else's money essentially.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And down payment wise, what is the average down payment?
For foreign buyers, you would be looking at anywhere from 35 to 50%. Again, it depends on the lender and depends on the property.
And then now, with that being said, with the new foreign buyers tax, so they're paying an additional 15%, so which is
Correct.
1.5. Okay,
Yes.
it sounds like it's a lot to a lot of people, but if we actually surveyed the different types of the prices of homes all over the world, Canada is still affordable.
Absolutely.
Compared-
Lots of good value here. And especially with the exchange rate too.
Yes, yes,
Exchange rate is very, very favorable for foreign buyers.
because the Canadian dollar is
so
it's
weak.
still
It's still fairly
yeah.
weak.
Yeah, it went up a little bit, but it's still still pretty weak right now. That
Exactly.
it's cheaper to buy in Canada
Yes.
than anywhere
Yeah.
in other parts of the world, right?
Good place to invest.
Like for example, in Hong Kong, per square footage, it's so expensive
Yes.
that by the time they buy in Canada, even with the tax, it's still more favorable.
Absolutely.
Okay, and is that what you're finding? That a lot of your foreign buyers are
Yeah.
mentioning?
Yeah, a lot of them, they can't afford a property in Asia. And as you said, Hong Kong square footage is ridiculously high. People essentially live in shoeboxes up in the sky. And for them, they'd rather invest in a property here where there's still a lot of opportunity for it to increase. And the total cost of investment is also lower.
Okay. Do you find that since last year, since Vancouver, adapted that tax, did you have any clients that decided, you know what, rather than Vancouver, I would invest in Toronto?
Definitely. There's
Okay.
a bit of overflow. For investors who want to avoid this tax, they came to Toronto.
Okay. And then now we have the tax.
Now we have the tax, so it's definitely slowed down a bit, but it's still there.
It's still favorable compared to,
Exactly.
and it really, the percentage really of foreign buyers compared to residents, it's actually very minimal.
It
It
is.
was like less than 5%.
Exactly. Less than 5% is a very accurate number for foreign buyers.
And therefore the change that the government implemented, it didn't really affect the residents here.
No.
But then the psychological impact, as I was mentioning in previous shows, definitely changed how the buyers and sellers viewed this current market
Yeah.
since the change.
It definitely changed the psyche of the buyer. But at the same time, a lot of these foreign buyers, certain ones, I'll say, they have a lot of money. They
Yeah.
just have so much that they could pay that 50% no problem, and they're not even going to bat an eye at the price difference.
Yeah. So if they really want to invest in Canada, whether you have the
Exactly.
foreign tax or not, they will invest, right?
Yeah.
But unfortunately, the impact for residents it's just a little different.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
So let's talk about now. Now we briefly touched base on the foreign buyers. Now let's go back to the residents. Okay, because a lot of immigrants are coming to Canada,
Yes.
and definitely a lot of first-time buyers. Okay.
Yes.
In your case here, since the change, when the announcement was made, what have you noticed with the pattern when it comes to your clients? And for myself, I found that buyers were holding off a little bit
Yep.
because
I-
they think that the market will, the bubble will burst, right?
Yes.
And the sellers all of a sudden start calling me and said, "Hey, let's start selling the home now because I will not get the same price that my neighbor got,
Yeah.
like a month or two ago."
Pricing has definitely changed a lot in the Toronto market, and activities slowed down a little bit, I would say. I've seen a lot more pre-construction purchases of
Okay.
condos. I mean, properties are so expensive now that people are forced away from houses, semis, townhouses, and they're actually going more towards condos. And
Yeah.
rather than buying a resale, a lot of them are buying
The pre-construction.
Exactly.
Yeah, and because the condos are still more affordable in
Exactly.
comparison to getting a townhouse or semi at this point, so they're willing to wait.
Yeah.
Wait for that. Since we touched base on the pre-construction, for all our listeners out there, let's quickly talk about pre-construction too. Okay, what is the criteria that they're looking for pre-construction?
Basically, they want to see that you have the income now to support the purchase price. Hopefully, in 2-3 years, when the condo does close, your income does go up as well, along with your down payment availability.
Mm-hmm.
So as long as you have the income now to support that purchase, great. That's all we need to see.
That's all you need to see. And then, do you do another pre-approval again closer to
Yes.
when the condo is definitely
Yeah.
ready, right?
Definitely take the time to get a pre-approval when you're closer to your occupancy date.
Mm-hmm.
Even when you take occupancy, you could obtain your pre-approval, so at least you're holding that rate for 4 months.
Okay, that's
And
good.
when they actually do registration, when you take ownership of the condo, then you at least have the rate protection then. And if it goes up, you have the rate that was held 4 months ago. If not, we'll see what's the best rate available at that time for you.
Okay, no, that's good to know. So it's always a pre-construction, and of course, you need a bigger down payment when it comes to pre-construction.
Yes.
So if you can maybe just elaborate on that.
Some builders will require you to put down 20%,
Mm-hmm.
and they'll spread it out. It could be over a period of 8 months, could be over a year and a half, and you can negotiate this. But at the same time, you do need to come up with that money.
Yeah, we're looking about $50,000 at least average, for down payment for pre-construction. So the
Yes.
first, when you sign, automatically you pay $10K right away, and then after 30 days, or again, the payment patterns, like you said, every builder is different.
Yes.
Okay, but you need at least 50K average, depending on the price of the condo, of course. Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay, so that's great. So that's our quick info regarding pre-construction. Let's go back to resale
Yes.
homes.
All
Okay,
right.
so
Fun
the
ones.
ongoing market changes here. Let's talk about. You mentioned a little bit slow right now.
Definitely.
Did you find that with regards to, have you ever had a scenario where people bought during the high market
Yes.
around March, let's say, or February,
Mhm.
and it was very expensive, and by the time they were trying to sell their home, they're having it was taking a little longer in the market because of the ever-changing market that just happened
yes.
here. So maybe if you can tell us more about that.
Yeah, some people have definitely been caught. I mean, they were expecting to sell their old house for X amount of dollars, but now they can only get 85%, 90% of that
Yeah.
price. And
So instead of, let's say, for our listeners, for example, they were expecting that their house might sell for $1 million, for example, and with the change of the market, now it's people around the area is now selling for 900,000.
Yeah.
Okay, so that definitely impacted their down payment.
yes, I have one client actually. They thankfully had a very strong down payment.
Mm-hmm.
And instead of putting that down payment, instead of getting the funds from their existing house sale,
Yeah, from the equity of their home. Yeah.
exactly, instead of getting that equity, they're just reducing the amount of their down payment.
And they were still qualified for it.
They
So
were
they,
still
they were
qualified.
lucky.
They were very,
They're
very
one of
lucky.
the lucky ones.
Exactly.
There's a lot of changes. A lot of clients were impacted
Yes.
because of this, and they were trying to figure out what to do with the down payment.
Yeah, I mean, my best advice to you would be make sure you have a strong down payment.
Mm-hmm.
And if necessary, you may have to rent it out. Even if it's for short term, that might be the best way to cover the expenses of your existing
Yeah,
property.
rather than paying two mortgages at the same time, because
Exactly.
you already bought the other property and you're paying a mortgage there, and
Yes.
then now you're paying for the existing property, and there's also bridge loan
Yes.
on top of that. So can you please explain what bridge loan is to our listeners?
Bridge loan is essentially borrowing money from the bank to cover your down payment prior to the sale of your existing property.
Mhm.
So let's say you're expecting to gather $100,000 worth of equity from your existing home. Rather than, well, at that time you won't have it.
Yeah.
While you're waiting for that sale, you could ask the lender to offer you a bridge loan for that $100,000 up until the point of your closing of the existing property.
So let's give dates and time, for example,
Okay.
to our clients. So let's say, like Ryan here, he has his home. Okay.
Congratulations.
There you go.
Renting.
And Ryan is.
I gave my home away for free, so
There you go.
celebrity homes. Just joking.
Yeah, we always talk about the celebrity homes, and so it's always his. He said it's his servants' quarters. That's the size of the home. So okay, so for example, let's say Ryan here, okay, is selling his home, and pretty much it will be. The closing date is August 30th.
Yes.
Okay, and he already bought a new one,
Yes.
and the new home that he bought actually it already closed. July 30th.
Yep.
Okay.
So within a month,
Yeah.
absolutely no problems. Within 30 days, you can request the lender to provide you with a bridge loan, and they'll charge you a fair amount of interest. It's usually prime plus about 3%. Prime right now is at 2.95 plus 3%. That makes it 5.95%. So it's not exactly a cheap rate. So you do want to ensure that your closing dates are fairly close so that you're not carrying this bridge for too long. But the good thing is that it's only for the amount of down payment that is forthcoming on your closing date from.
So your existing home is not closing till home in July 30th. So pretty much the lender is financing of the new home. And of course, they're waiting for 30 days for you to get the rest of your down payment or your deposit, right? From the sale of your home. So that 30-day period is the bridge.
Exactly.
Okay? And that's what Fred is talking about.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay, that's great. So so it's only the interest, it's only the down payment that you're
Correct.
being charged.
Planned down payment is $200,000, and you have $50,000 on hand that you already paid as a deposit with your purchase.
So you already paid 100K. Yeah.
So the only 50K.
Oh, sorry.
So
okay.
the difference would be $150,000, and that's the only amount that you'd be paying the interest.
The
on.
interest rate based on that amount.
Exactly.
Okay.
It's only the outstanding difference.
So what happens if it's more than 30 days for the bridge?
You'd have to request an exception.
Okay.
And I have done that in the past where I went to the lender and said, you know what, the closing date is within 45 days, 50 days of each other. Can we do that? And it takes a couple days, but usually they do come back and say, yes, we'll still approve this bridge loan.
Okay, because I've had clients who actually had a little bit of longer bridge loan, maybe 2 months or so, because they did renovations.
Yes.
And again, depending on your criteria, right? So, but the average is normally just 30 days for what the lenders would is an acceptable time for bridge.
30 days, without a doubt, you'll get it approved.
Okay.
And if you have a very strong application, very strong income, strong credit score, minimal debts, these are all factors that will make your application look that much more solid. And if you have all that, the lender would be much more willing to,
To extend
extend
the bridge
the
loan.
bridge loan for you.
Excellent. Okay, that's great. So we'll talk more. We're actually going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we'll talk more about interest rates and and the difference right now from the interest rates since the government made an announcement. So we'll be right back with Property Talks with Gizele Mirasol.
Property Talk. We'll be right back after some words from our friends.
Are you selling your home or buying one? Gee, you need help fast. Call 416-684-6442. Talk about mortgages, real estate, and everything along that line? Gee, you gotta have assistance. Call direct. 416-684-6442. Still bothered by a lot of questions? You need G. Call her now. 416-684-6442. And look for Gizele, your reliable realtor. Her name is synonymous to acquiring your dream home fast. Selling? It's still her. Gizele. Gizele Mirasol of Remax Realty, Kingston Road, Ontario. Send your inquiries to Gizele Mirasol at gmail.com. That's GIZELEMIRASOL at gmail.com.
Sa iRemit, libreng tawag ka sa Pilipinas tuwing magpapadala ka ng pera via iRemit from any of our 8 branches across Canada. Visit Batter's Toronto branch and enjoy free coffee or tea and other refreshments and experience the comfort of their service while sending money to the Philippines. Sasakyan ba ikaw mo? Toronto Auto Group ang puntahan mo. 2380 Lawrence Avenue East, Scarborough, Ontario. Makakaasa ka at walang duda. Sa Toronto Auto Group, everyone gets approved. 99% guaranteed. When you talk of car loans, tag it. Madali ang usapan. With branches in Oshawa, Trenton, Belleville, Santa Fe, and Sudbury. Visit their website, torontooutogroup.ca. Because when you know it's time and the moment is right, simply tag it. We are just 10 digits away. Call Maria Cruz Fernandez, 416-939-5610. Licenciado, Filipino at handang maglingkod sa'yo. Toronto Auto Group, your used car superstore. Comfortable and relaxing environment is what welcomes you at the dental office of Dr. William Rodriguez and Associates, serving the community since 1996. From simple dental checkup, teeth cleaning and whitening, Invisalign clear braces, dentures, implants, and crowns, you can be assured of our treatment with smiles from the heart. Dr. William Rodriguez and Associates makes great smiles come true. Schedule an appointment at 905-277-3088. Visit us at thesmilecenter.com or drop by at 350 Burnham Turp Road, West Mississauga to personally experience how to make great smiles come true. Time for more informative discussions with our amazing speakers on Property Talk.
And welcome back to Property Talks with Gizele, Mirasol. And again, here I have my special guest, Fred Chan from Mortgage Alliance. Hello again, Fred.
Hello.
Okay. And just before we went on break, we were talking about, actually, we had a couple of topics there, from foreign buyers to residents and, the ever-changing market in real estate. So now let's talk about interest rates. And what are the interest rate? What's a fixed? What's a variable rate? And maybe you can tell us more about, based on your experience, on explain to our listeners around the world what it is in Canada.
Well, a fixed rate, essentially, it's fixed. The rate is set for the term of your contract. So typically, mortgage terms are for 5 years, and throughout that 5-year time, your rate will not change. And for variable, it exactly is that. It could change depending on the Bank of Canada's prime rate, which drives lenders' prime rates as well. So if you take a 5-year variable rate, which is the most common, your rate could go up. I mean, I have a variable rate and it's gone up twice on me and gone down.
So this is for your own home, right?
This is for my
yes.
own home.
Yeah. So let's just, for listeners, an example prime rate is like 2.2, yes. variable rate.
Yeah, the variable rate when I first bought my house was 2.25. Then it went up to 2.3. Then it dropped down to 2.0 actually, and that was great for a while because at the time, Bank of Canada actually reduced their rate by about 0.5% within half a year. So it was really, really good for variable rate holders.
So for our clients who have a variable rate and they want to change, and then because you do have, with variable, you have the option of changing it to fixed. There's
Absolutely.
an open and close. So can you kindly elaborate more on that, please?
With most variable rate mortgages, you can convert to a fixed rate mortgage anytime within your term. You just
So within that 5-year term, for example.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So let's say you've already passed 2 years with your variable rate mortgage and you do want to convert to a fixed rate. You have to take at least a 3-year term or more because they just want to make sure that you are with them for
That
the
you will
minimum
stay for
5
that,
years.
yes, okay.
Exactly. In my experience, nobody has done that yet. Just
Because it's still low, right?
Exactly. The variable rate is still very low. I mean, I've had friends come up to me recently and say, Fred, is it time to fix my interest rate yet? And I'm like, no. I mean, we got you a very, very good rate. I mean, my friend that came up to me, he had 2.0% for
Okay.
his variable rate.
Oh, that's pretty good.
That's a really
Yeah.
good rate. And
His credit must be really good too.
oh yeah, he's good income, good property,
Mhm.
yeah, everything checked out. And even with the prime rate increase of 0.25%, it was previously 2.7% to start the year.
Mhm.
And I think last month it went up to 2.95, which is where we are right now.
Yeah.
He's only at 2.25.
Oh wow, that's still good.
That's very, very good. And if he were to convert to a fixed rate, it would be closer to 3%. And 2.25 versus 3%, I'd much rather stay with
It's
the
still a
variable rate.
win-win,
Exactly.
definitely. What's the difference between an open variable and closed variable?
Open variable, that basically means that you could pay it off at any time with no penalty whatsoever. A closed variable, you could still pay it off. However, your penalty will most likely be 3 months interest.
Okay.
If you are going to pay off this mortgage fairly quickly,
Mhm.
then you could consider getting an open variable.
Okay.
And fairly short term would likely be about 8 months or less. Beyond
Okay.
that, I would say go with a closed fixed rate. just because the cost difference is quite high between a open variable versus a closed variable.
Okay, yes. So, like again, like Fred said earlier, it's not all about the interest rate. It's also about other terms and conditions that's
Exactly.
associated with that, right? So, and not everyone qualifies for variable.
Correct. In order to qualify for a variable rate, you do have to pass the stress test, which is set up by the Bank of Canada. The benchmark rate for this right now is 4.84%. It's
right.
gone up from 4.64 recently to 4.84.
And that was a change back in November of last year for the stress test. So it has gone up.
Yes.
Okay.
It has gone up a bit. And if you have the strong income, you do qualify for it. If not, let's say you're very close to qualifying. It depends on your ratios. And if you're tight, I would suggest going for a fixed rate. If you could qualify for a variable, I have typically recommended that, just because variable rates also carry a smaller penalty in most cases. Some of them carry a fairly large penalty, depending on the terms.
Okay.
Whereas a fixed rate, it's the greater of interest rate differential or 3 months interest penalty. So interest rate differential, what this is, it calculates what your rate is at that time. At what rate did you obtain? What was the discount that you were offered? Multiply that by the time remaining on your mortgage
Okay.
times the balance. And all of this, it usually translates to about 3 times the penalty of a variable interest rate.
I see.
So if you're not planning to live in this particular property for an extended period, beyond 5 years, then maybe stick with the variable. That's
Okay.
why I would usually go with that.
Yeah.
Lower rate, lower penalty.
And the good thing is you can always, I mean, if Fred is your mortgage advisor, it's always good to ask him as well. And he, like you said, a friend came up to you.
Absolutely.
So, and then you will, make your suggestion based on what you see in the ever-changing market that we have in
Yes.
real estate. Okay, that's great. And most people, again, are qualified for the fixed rate.
Yes.
Okay, and pretty much with a fixed rate, if you do, so a lot of people, the term, just to give everybody an idea, the amortization is normally 25 years. That's the length of time that you have to pay, your home. But it doesn't mean that whenever a lender provides you with a mortgage, then you have an option to choose a 5-year term, a 4-year term, or 3-year term, and the interest rate and the criteria varies, right?
Yes.
So, so after 5 years, let's explain to them what happens. Let's say DJ Ryan here bought a home in 2017. So by the time we are now in 2022, 5 years.
Yep.
So what happens then?
Actually, when he purchases his house, if he has 20% or greater, he could have his amortization set at 30 years.
Which is cheaper monthly for you
Yes.
to pay.
So
Okay.
basically, you are required to pay off your home within 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you were to take a shorter amortization, you just have to pay a bit more each month. My recommendation is to take as long of an amortization as you can, as you are offered, just because you can pay it off at your own pace. Because it's saying 30 years amortization, you could actually pay it off within 10 if you do all your lump sum payments, take advantage of all the prepayment privileges. Yeah. And okay, let's just go back to Ryan.
Yes.
2022, you're renewing your mortgage. You're up for your mortgage is matured. You first talk to me. And
You
we'll
have
see
20
what's-
more years at this point, or no. It was 25 years, let's just say, and there's now
Yes.
20 years left to pay
Yep.
the rest of his mortgage. And they're at 2020.
You could then switch your mortgage from your current lender to another one. You have to carry over the exact same mortgage balance and the remaining amortization term along with you to your new mortgage. If you were to change either one of these, increase the loan amount or increase the amortization term, you would have to refinance your mortgage. You could reduce it as well. Let's say you had an extra $50,000 at that time. You could pay down your mortgage and then transfer it over. And let's say at that time you also had a higher household income. You could increase your regular payment so you could pay it off faster.
Mm-hmm. So those are definitely an option. And for our listeners, if you're within the 5 years and for some reason you decided to sell your home and not buy a new one, and I know what happens, but I'll let you explain what happens.
So let's say you sell your home and you're not planning to buy a new one, then you'd have to break that mortgage, and that's where your penalty comes into play. If you were to have a fixed rate mortgage at that time, then your penalty would most likely be higher, not necessarily all the time. And if you were to have a variable interest rate, then you could get away with just a 3-month interest penalty only.
There you go.
So anytime you break your mortgage or refinance it, let's say you want to change the terms somehow or take someone's name off of title, then you would have to incur a penalty.
And now there's also when let's say DJ Ryan, within 3 years in 2020 decided, oh, you know what, I want to upgrade to a bigger home. I'm still within that 5 years.
Yes, he could do that. He could look into transferring this mortgage over. It's called porting. A lot of mortgages I deal with have portability clauses. They do want to evaluate the property to make sure that it is within their guidelines, their framework. They don't want you to move it out to a farm where it's going to be a lot harder to sell. But in most instances, if you stay within the city, you could bring this mortgage over. You could also blend it, which means that you keep your existing loan amount at that rate, the old rate, and then you obtain a new amount above what you have existing at the new rate.
And there might be a penalty, might be a little penalty, but normally when you're purchasing something more, more expensive, then you don't usually, it's just a regular port, and I think there's some admin.
There's just
charges.
an admin fee.
Yeah.
Typically no penalties
Mhm.
because you're not changing too many terms. You're just porting it over. They'll charge you an admin fee most likely.
Yeah.
Just to change the registration.
However, if you're buying something at a lesser amount, then that's the different scenario.
Yes.
Okay.
If you're buying something less, then you'll have to break that mortgage most
Mhm.
likely.
Exactly.
If it's within your prepayment terms, so a lot of mortgages, they have prepayment options.
Mhm.
It varies from 15 to 20%. If it's within that variance, you could do a prepayment and then just port that mortgage over as well.
There you go. So those
No
are
penalty.
those are just examples of what happens when you currently have an existing mortgage, right? And
Yes.
the penalties are. Now let's talk about what is prime rate, and what's there's been a change as well of increase with the prime rate. So I'll let Fred talk about that.
Yeah, prime rate recently went up from 2.7% up to 2.95%, which was driven by Bank of Canada's overnight prime rate change. Went up 0.25%, and the lenders in turn all increased their prime rate by 0.25% up to 2.95. I mean, we had 2.7% for about
For a
just
long
over-
time.
quite a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of us were getting variable rate mortgages in the low 2%, which was
Mhm.
great. And now it went up 0.25%. It's affecting quite a few of my clients, but at the same time, it's still not that significant. You're still saving money compared to a fixed rate.
Mm-hmm.
I still stand by my recommendation to them that the variable rate was a better option.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now it's the variable rate. It has gone up. At the same time, rates are still decent. I mean, I'm looking at the chart right now where we have the rates available, and it's about 2.15 at the low point, and it could go all the way to 2.5%. So if you were to get a 5-year variable rate now, you would expect it to be between 2.1 to 2.5%.
Okay. And if it's a fixed rate
Fixed rates
on a 5-year term, let's just say.
on a 5-year term, if you have an insured deal essentially when you have less than 20% down payment. So let's say you only have 5% available for your down payment. That's fine. You could actually qualify for a lower rate because you are paying for the mortgage insurance rather than the lender. And with that profile, you could qualify for a 2.79% 5-year fixed rate mortgage.
Okay. And to our listeners, we'll quickly just quickly touch base what the mortgage insurance rate is. So if you do have less than 20% down, there is an insurance premium
Yes.
that you do pay
Yeah.
on top of your mortgage, but you don't really actually necessarily feel it because it's actually amortized in 25 years as well. So the higher down payment, the better. But if you have 5%, you obviously pay more. 10%, then you pay just a little less.
Yep.
20%, you don't pay that mortgage insurance. Okay,
Correct.
from CMHC, which is the Canadian Mortgage Housing Corporation, Genworth, and other insurers as well. Okay, so that's what Fred means with regards to the insured
Yes.
mortgage. And the other option, sorry, if it's
Yeah, when you have more than 20%, then your rate will be about 2.99%. And I have seen specials where they'll come in a little less than that. I've seen someone have a 2.9% fixed conventional, which is when you
Mhm.
have more than 20% down payment, and it just has to close within 90 days.
So you can possibly get an insured one for 2.79%, and then if you have more than 20%, the rate could possibly be higher, which is 2.99.
Correct.
But there are other. So let's. So this is normally the questions that we get, right? So
Absolutely.
go ahead, Fred.
With insured mortgages, your maximum amortization is going to be 25 years. The other factor is that your qualifying rate would be at benchmark of 4.84%. That means that it's going to be a lot harder for you to qualify for this mortgage. If you can stretch your down payment all the way to 20%, great. At that point, your amortization max can be 30 years, and you could qualify at the contract rate. So the example I gave you was 2.99%. You would only have to qualify at 2.99% with a 30-year amortization versus 2.79% with a 25-year amortization. Sorry, 25-year amortization with a 4.84 benchmark rate.
Okay, yeah. So the
Huge difference.
so pretty much the criteria of getting approved, that's what he means by the
4.84.
4.84 now. I got used to the 4.64.
I
Right?
know.
Yeah.
It didn't change for such a long time.
That's right. And so for the
So much flux.
4.84, and that means that it really does affect your qualification
It does.
based on that. So now, well, if you do have the 20%, then having 30 years rather than 25 years, it does make a difference for a lot of people
Absolutely.
when it comes to the paying monthly.
Yep. I mean, it could save, if you have the 20% down payment with a 30-year AM, it could save you about $150.
Per month,
Per
which
month?
can go to utilities or
Exactly.
anything else, right?
A lot of, you could spend that in so many different ways. And you know what? I believe in giving my clients control.
Okay.
If you want to pay it off slower, so be it. If you want to pay it off faster and you have the means to do so, you could do that too. But at least you can decide which path you want to take.
Yes.
Rather than saying, oh, you know what? I have to take a 25-year amortization. I have to pay X amount of dollars, which is a lot higher than the 30-year amortization.
Okay. And so now let's talk about as well, what did, so the pretty much here with regards to the market changes. So did you find that since the government announcement till now, how has, the pattern is with your clients or new clients, did you find that it's easy? We talk about how it slowed down. Like, do people talk about the bubble will burst? What's your opinion on it?
I saw Toronto's so busy. There's so many people in this area that it hasn't really slowed down. There's always going to be people buying, renewing. They have to upsize or they're downsizing, so there's always going to be activity. I mean, rates have actually gone up a fair amount. I mean, in this summer, I was able to get rates, 5-year fixed rates for about 2.5%, and now they're at 3%. I mean, it's a pretty big change for fixed rates. But at the same time, has that stopped people from buying? No.
Yeah.
I mean, people are still coming up to me for refinances and renewals, and there's just so many. There's too many people in Toronto for it to really slow down too much.
And prices wise, so we did see a little bit of decrease, and then now, what do you see? Do you see the prices, going
It's-
back up a bit, or?
It seems to be stabilizing a bit. Yeah, there was a bit of a dip for sure in July. Actually, I'd say probably May to
May, yeah.
July.
Yeah.
I've seen a bit of a dip. August was fairly stable, and we'll see how it goes into the fall.
That's right. So as we're talking about because of the changes here, let's talk about appraisals. Okay, appraisals is again. I'll let Fred. I'll let Fred talk about that.
Well, this happened. This may have been the problem back when house prices were jumping up really high.
Yes.
Appraisals basically lets the lender know what is the market value of the property you just purchased or you're appraising. And I've had one instance where the purchase price was higher than the appraised price, which caused a bit of a headache for my client. In that situation, the lender would only let them borrow against the appraised price rather than the purchase price.
Yeah. So just to give everyone an example, during a time when the market was high, there was a lot of biddings that was
Yes.
happening, right? And so, for example, the market value, let's say your neighbors, the comparables, just for example's sake, let's say it was 950,000, okay, and then you're bidding with 15 people, and eventually you won the bid with $1 million.
Yes.
Okay. So please go ahead.
Yeah, so let's say you purchase it for $1 million, but then your appraisal comes back at $930,000. The lender will only let you borrow based on that $930,000.
Even if you're pre-approved for 1.5 million.
Exactly. They're basically going to say that we're not going to let you borrow greater than this 930, and they're going to lend you the 80% based on that figure.
Yeah. So that means that the $70,000 difference, it will be coming out of your pocket.
Yes. So when you're going into an offer, make sure you have a good set of comparables.
Yeah.
You don't bid with emotion, and that you're prepared. Because appraisals could come back, and a lot of times they come in higher than the purchase price. So that's great.
That's great. Yeah, you don't have to
Yeah,
worry
you don't
about the
have to worry
appraisal.
about it. And you got a really
It's
good deal
good.
on the
It's
house,
it's
too.
good. It's good
Yeah.
if they appraise it higher, actually.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, those are very good scenarios. But I've only had one instance where the appraisal came in lower, and
And I
It's
think
not
this was the one of the issues that's been happening when the market, dip a bit,
yes,
because it was appraised higher.
yeah. I mean, I haven't had that actually happen, but I've heard of stories where they expected the house to be worth 1.1 million, but it came back at 1 million.
Yeah.
And
That's $100,000, which is
yeah,
just a lot of
$100,000.
money.
It's a lot of money. I mean, it takes a while to save that money up, and if there's that much difference, then you might have to change your strategy a bit.
Did you find that people were, there's been a lot of talks about buyers or sellers, buyers in particular, backing out on deals since the market change?
I've read stories about it in the newspaper. I haven't experienced it personally,
Okay.
thankfully, just because
Like colleagues or have
exactly.
they? Yeah.
It gets messy. I mean, just because the house price has gone down and you want to back out because of that reason, I wouldn't recommend it necessarily, just because there's a lot of legal ramifications. I mean, I'm no legal expert, but there could be costs associated with the loss in value because of this inconvenience that you've caused to the sellers. They could come after you legally.
Yeah, and that's when we normally have, we do have future guests or lawyers who will further explain about that regarding the changes as well. But so a lot of good information here, Fred. I know there's so much more, but we just wanted to touch base on little topics here and there for our listeners worldwide. But when we come back, we'll briefly talk about again the ever-changing market, and afterwards we'll talk about, of course, our celebrity homes. And again, we'll be right back. This is Gizele Mirasol of Property Talks.
Property Talk. We'll be right back after some words from our friends.
Are you selling your home or buying one? Gee, you need help fast. Call 416-684-6442. Talk about mortgages, real estate, and everything along that line? Gee, you gotta have assistance. Call direct. 416-684-6442. Still bothered by a lot of questions? You need G. Call her now. 416-684-6442. And look for G. Sell. Your reliable realtor. Her name is synonymous to acquiring your dream home fast. Selling? It's still her. Gizele. Gizele Mirasol of Remax Realty, Kingston Road, Ontario. Send your inquiries to GizeleMirasol@gmail.com. That's GIZELEMIRASOL@gmail.com.
Ang Rouge Valley Mitsubishi ay masayang magdiriwang ng ika-100 taong anibersaryo. 0% lease or finance hanggang 84 months sa mga piling modelo. Di mo kailangang magbayad sa unang 2 buwan. Mabilis na credit approval. Bumisita sa RougeValleyMitsubishi.ca ngayon.
What's the purpose of your visit? Do you intend to stay long?
Questions. A lot of questions.
So, what's your concern? Do you have issues on student visa or super visa?
I want to know about family sponsorship.
Business immigration?
How about caregiver program?
Self-employed class?
Tell me more on PR and citizenship applications.
Skilled and temporary workers?
Please enlighten me on express entry,
etc., etc.
More inquiries? NQCIS has the answers. Northern Quest, Canadian Immigration Services.
Visit their website today, northernquest.ca, or better call them now at 647-302-3508.
NQCIS, your reliable partner to your bright future in Canada. Time for more informative discussions with our amazing speakers on Property Talk.
And welcome back again to Property Talks with Gizele Mirasol. First, just wanted to say hi to our listeners. Hello, Patrick. How are you? Thank you. He goes, nice voice on the radio. Thanks, Patrick. Also, greetings to the Dios family. Thanks for watching, guys. Pretty much here they mentioned Edgar and Pam and the fam. They mentioned more power to you, Gizele, and your show. Thank you for your great services to the Filipino community. Cheers. I really appreciate that, Edgar. And to you as well, Edgar. Edgar is also an advocate in the community, so he's been an integral part of the community as well. So hello, Edgar de Dios and Pam and fam again. To Blue Orlando saying Mabuhay Pinoy Radio, greetings from the family from Brampton, right? And of course, hello Ate Lot, thanks for watching. She did mention that there's a lot of good information here that we have. There might be a little bit of information here if you wanted. The good thing about having it here on Facebook Live, even after the show, you can actually watch it on your own time, and you can rewind it, you can forward it. So if you have any questions, first, where can we reach you, Fred?
Well, you can reach me at my website, which is www.fredchan.ca. You can also call me. My number is 647-808-4970. I'm happy to answer your questions. I mean, if it's too much to process all at once, give
Yes.
me a call.
That's right. I know this is all new to some people, right? But definitely
Yes.
give Fred a call on my website here as well, which is soldbyg.com, soldbyg.com. There is a link to my Facebook page, which is Gizele Mirasol Remax Realtor. And in there, I actually have Fred's lovely picture with his information there, with his email address, phone number, and where to reach him. So, and if you're unable to reach him, give me a call. Okay, or go to my website, and definitely I'll make sure that you get in touch with Fred. Okay, and Fred, just now, because you're with Mortgage Alliance, maybe you can tell us what's the difference between going to you and going to the bank.
Well, the biggest thing is I work for you. I'm there to help serve your best interests, and I'm not trying to hit a target. I mean, there was an article recently, probably 2 months ago, about a certain bank. I'm not going to say which
Yes.
one. That was
we won't say anything.
I actually work with them as well.
Okay.
And they're just really pushing their staff to hit targets. So they might be selling life insurance to someone who doesn't really need it. I mean, I'm not going to sell you life insurance. I'm not a life insurance agent. I'm a mortgage agent, and I'm going to tell you what is the best option for you, and I'd rather you find the best option for you for life insurance. And you know what? The other thing is I actually get really good rates. Even
Okay.
though I work with Scotiabank, I work with TD Bank, I work with First National, Street Capital. These are non-bank lenders, and they all have their own benefits. Each of them have really good products. And depending on the time, I might take you to one versus another just because the rates could be different. And the other thing is I also get better rates than the bank. A lot of times staff for certain banks, I'm not going to say which ones, will come to me and say, here, this is what I can offer you right now for a 2-year, for a 5-year. And he says, wow, I'm asking my internal team for a staff rate.
Like an employee rate,
An
right?
employee
Sometimes,
rate.
right? Yeah.
And they're actually being charged, they're actually being offered a higher rate and similar terms. So the only difference there is the rate, and I could beat them. And it's great. I mean, I'm happy to be able to help whoever comes to me. And I actually do want to help them as best as I can. If the staff rate is in fact better, or let's say your current bank is able to give you a better rate, that's great. I'd rather you take that.
Yes.
I mean,
So the good thing is you're also looking out for the best interest of your client.
exactly,
Right? So.
exactly. I mean, I'd rather you be a happy client and come back to me later on for a renewal if it happens.
For refinancing, and that's a good thing, because it's the same thing with myself and the way how I work as well. Is we always look out. It's not about, of course, this is our business. Definitely.
Exactly.
It is. We this is our income. However, at the same time, we always want to make sure that the clients are number one.
Yep.
Whether we lose out on sometimes, but we always gain it back tenfolds, right?
Exactly.
So, like you said, they might come back to you or might refer someone to you later
Exactly.
on. So.
It's all about your reputation and your trust, and I want my clients to trust me.
Yes, and it's been a mortgage broker for quite some time now, so which is really good. And as you've heard today, he knows his information. So always, give me a call or give him a call, and we'll make sure that you keep in touch with Fred here. Okay, that's great. Well, thank you, Fred. Now, just before we end the show, we are now going to talk about our celebrity homes.
Yeah, excited for this.
There you go. And our celebrity for today is none other than Kendall Jenner. Kendall Jenner actually just bought this property in West Hollywood. It's right above the epicenter of the Sunset Strip. And actually, she just bought this recently back in June. Okay, it's located just above the legendary Chateau Marmont Hotel. It's that's actually where John Belushi died, at that hotel. Okay, but hundreds of stars have stayed there. The house is 4,800 square feet with 6 bedrooms, 5 baths, a pool, and jetliner view. Pretty much, she bought this. It used to be a former home of John Belushi and Emily, where she bought it around March. However, what's happening is she's starting to sell it now. So they actually, it's actually, let me just rephrase. It used to be the home of Emily Blunt and John Krasinski. Okay, and the reason why she's selling this place, there's been restraining orders for fans who's been actually going through crazy fans who's been going through her driveway. And so there's a lot of grief that she's experienced because of this, right? She originally paid $6.5 million for it. At the moment, that hasn't been really disclosed how much it is. But because of the restraining orders that's been happening, and also her mom, Kris Jenner, has been adamant saying, you know what, you shouldn't have bought this in the first place because it's not a gated community. So for for a star like herself, a lot of fans wanted to see her home, and you're not in a gated community. They definitely just go to her driveway and eventually see, Kendall Jenner. But if you happen to, just want to buy a home because you're a fan or because you like the location and you don't have to worry about paparazzi, might be a good option because it looks like she's pretty much eager to sell it as soon as possible. So $6.5 million is, just chump change for your DJ Ryan, right? Last time we talked about $35 million. So, $6.5 million for Kendall Jenner home is a fairly priced home in Hollywood. What do you think?
Yeah, I know. But the next time I want to request Mayweather's house, how much and everything.
Mayweather's house. All right, just for
Money.
you. Especially, did you guys watch the fight last night?
Yep, last night.
McGregor versus Mayweather.
Yep.
No, I missed it. You know what? It's too much of a spectacle.
It is. I mean, you get an MMA fighter going to a boxing fight, but I think it lasted
next time
10
LeBron,
rounds.
right?
LeBron. He was watching. LeBron was
Yeah.
watching with his wife there as well. But somebody actually suggested next time, what they should have done is the first if McGregor passed the sixth round or something, then the first six round of boxing, and then the rest of the 6 rounds would be you have MMA. that would be right. That will be an option because now you have both advantage. But definitely, I mean, there's no kicking allowed in boxing. So, but I think McGregor did well to last that long in that fight. I think it was people already knew that
It was a foregone conclusion.
Yeah, 50-0 now for Mayweather here. All right. Well, so that is our edition of Property Talks with Gizele Mirasol. I would like to thank my guests again. Fred, pleasure to have you here.
Thank you for having me. It was great.
Thank you for all the information. I know there's a lot more information, and it might be a little confusing for some people, but give Fred a call. The good thing about asset buying in Canada, you are being represented with professionals who's able to assist you. Starting off with the mortgage. So, for example, Fred can assist you with the mortgage and the approval. Once that's done, then it's my turn, which is pretty much the realtor who pretty much sells you the home and assists with the negotiations, and we go shopping basically. And right after that, then you have your own real estate lawyer who's going to assist you to make sure all the transactions have been transferred smoothly. All right. Okay. Any last words before we go, Fred?
Thank you for having me. It was fun. And if you have any questions, feel free to call me.
Please give Fred a call. Once again, everyone, thank you for listening to Property Talks with Gizele Mirasol. Our next episode will be in 2 weeks. So for everybody else, enjoy your long weekend in the summer. We will be back on September 10 for you. And again, once again, have yourself a wonderful day. Thank you.
Are you selling your home or buying one? Gee, you need help fast. Call 416-684-6442. Talk about mortgages, real estate, and everything along that line? Gee, you gotta have assistance. Call direct. 416-684-6442. Still bothered by a lot of questions? You need G. Call her now. 416-684-6442. And look for Gizele, your reliable realtor. Her name is synonymous to acquiring your dream home fast. Selling? It's still her. Gizele. Gizele Mirasol of Remax Realty, Kingston Road, Ontario. Send your inquiries to GizeleMirasol@gmail.com. That's GIZELEMIRASOL@gmail.com. Mula Bukang Liwayway hanggang Takip Siling, PinoyRadio.com. Inyong kapiling 24/7.
In entertaining the global Pinoy,
We go above and beyond.
On air everywhere. Listen in. Look at us. Now streaming live.
on the road and rising, reaching more Filipinos abroad.
Ito ang radyo ng Pilipinas.